Welcome to our web exclusive. I'm Mike Montecalvo along with Eyewitness News analyst Lieutenant General Reginald Centracchio. Latest developments, General, now on the president's plan to battle the terror group ISIS. He says this is a counterterrorism campaign. It's waged through a steady, relentless effort to take out ISIL, as he says, whenever they exist, using the power and support of partners. So we're going to break all this down. Let's talk about the partners first, because he is looking for coalition help.
He is. He's had that meeting on several occasions, I believe with a commitment of about 40 nations that do want to participate, but only about 6 or 7 have come forward to actually make a commitment to it at this particular point. And I think what he's trying to do is to determine and create a common base that they're all in the same boat, to be able to be concerned about ISIS and what it would do to their country if they're not eliminated and destroyed. All
right, General, he was talking about air power last night. He talked about air strikes. But there was also the reference for boots on the ground, which he said would not have happened at the beginning.
I wish I could believe that totally. I have obviously no reason to suggest that, but the common sense would tell you if you use air power, you must have some capability on the ground to be able to designate and point out specific strategic targets. Without that, you could use all the air power in the world. You need to be in a position to obviously leverage what is in the best interest of destroying ISIS itself, even in Syria. So therefore, you need forward air controllers, you need somebody to be able to designate targets and to be able to make sure their targets are not within the residential area.
He said he would not hesitate for more airstrikes in Syria. We're hearing from people on both sides of the aisle. Democrats and Republicans are supporting him. Democrats and Republicans have been critical of his plan.
Correct. I think he's not been forthcoming, in my opinion, to talk about the real possibility that there could be boots on the ground. You don't win any kind of a plan, or you don't have an effective plan to be able to execute it and exercise it, to be able to say, we're just going to do this from the air. You've got to have at some point boots on the ground. Now, what we're hearing here is he's looking at, depending upon those partners, to be able to have boots on the ground. We've not been successful with that philosophy in the past and that particular methodology, as we've seen with the Iraqi army itself, Yemen, as well as Somalia.
All right, he's talking about 500 more advisors to go into the region. Senator John McCain lashed out against the president on Thursday, saying he needs to start telling the truth. He says, tell the truth that eventually there will be a lot of ground troops.
I agree. You know, there's 1,500 troops there right now. And when they first started talking about this, you're talking about a couple of hundred to be advisors, protect the embassy. You're talking about pretty close to 1,500 troops right now. And that, in my opinion, and I think anybody with any common sense would suggest that if you have 1,500 troops, that means you have boots on the ground. Now, what capacity they're in could change from day to day. And that's a real concern that once again, you could have this thing referred to as mission creep.
What do National Guard troops play into all of this?
You know, it depends on the kind of mission that they're looking to. National Guard across the country has various missions. I heard the president say very briefly last night that he would look to putting National Guard units and to be able to give some stability to the government within the regions that they recapture.
All right, so part of the president's plan is to train and equip the rebels to fight the militants. Saudi Arabia apparently has agreed to provide a base for the training. This has not worked in the past. Why would it work now?
You're absolutely right. That's the concern about having partners and looking to them for the ground war. And if you look at Somalia, Yemen, Iraq, and obviously Afghanistan and other parts of the world where we tried to give weapons and train specific units within that country, sometimes they're not very reliable, as is the case with the Iraqi army right now.
All right, General, we have only a minute left. This all coming, the president doing the speech the night before 9/11. We were both at the Rhode Island State House on Thursday for the ceremony. I was proud to be the MC for the event. It brought a lot of families together, and there was a theme in there, too, that the war on terrorism has not ended.
You're absolutely right. And once again, you did a tremendous job this morning. Certainly thanks to Colonel O'Donnell. And you're right. You know, when you talk about 9/11 and 01, not much has changed with the exception that we're better prepared today than we were before that. So the war on terror will continue, and as long as there's a threat, there'll be a need to have this kind of a response capability.
Okay, General, thank you very much. We're going to obviously stay on top of this story. Thank you for watching.